I couldn't be more excited about where I'm at in life now, because I just didn't think it was possible that I'd ever get there. I never would have imagined I would get to live a life like this from where I started. I'm Josh Smith, the founder and CEO of the Fourth Purpose Foundation. Yeah, so I grew up in a town right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and life for me growing up as a kid, my father was gone at 2. Him and my mother divorced, and he moved out of state. You know, not having a father active in your life, you know, present is, it's tough. It's tough on a kid. You really don't even realize how tough maybe even until later on in life. I don't know the exact age, but my mother ended up marrying someone else, and you know, we were excited to have somebody playing that father role part. We moved out into a nicer place to live, but this guy didn't bargain for kids. And you know, at around 11 years old, I was questioned by Child Services. They came into my school, they took my clothes, had me stripped down to my underwear and took pictures of my body to look at what was going on. And you know, so that was a really tough period for me, wanting the love of a father, but not really, you know, not really understanding what was going on with the abuse and those things. And so I ran away from home. My first time visiting a juvenile facility was around 11 or 12 when they took me after I had ran away. I think it was the first time. As a juvenile, you're with that group of friends, you're young. Most of them all had a story as well. We're all in similar fashions, right? And then you just start trying to struggle and figure it out all together. And it's kind of like, all right, the world's not giving me anything, so I'm going to take it. You know, you live and you think there's no consequence coming, and then next thing you know, consequences come. And at the age of 16, I was charged with 10 felonies, all burglaries and theft charges. By the time I was 21, I had met some people and was involved in drugs, and was selling marijuana and cocaine. By the time that all was said and done, at the age of 21, I was charged and convicted for a kilo of cocaine and 150 pounds of marijuana. I was rated the most culpable out of our entire criminal organization. The federal government did not like my entrepreneurial abilities, and they decided to shut my enterprise down. A very short time later, I walk into federal prison in an orange jumpsuit and just a handful of things, thinking that my entire life had just got left behind and was over. The turning point for me when I was in prison was just an interaction that I had with God. I was, you know, in my bunk. I had just cussed out a guy who was a Christian, who came up, was nice, was talking to me, and I just said all kinds of bad things to him in front of everybody, because again, I wanted, you know, I was tough, I was hard, I was the person, you know, that could do this with no problem, but inside I was dying. I just remember that night just getting to a place and calling out to God and just saying, here I am. And then I went to sleep. And, you know, no bells and whistles went off, my toes didn't tingle, you know, nothing like that. The next day was different. And, you know, as I walked and as I did things, the things that used to not bother me before bothered me. And so conviction started setting in, and then I just got to see God moving, and I would see just little things, which would make me press in more to Him. I was fortunate enough also to be at a place that they had locked up a lot of white-collar criminals, a lot of people with tax evasion or things like that. Again, I'd never been exposed to professional people like that had that kind of money or success or education. So I began to just glean from them, and I would learn from them. A banker, I'd learn about banking. A financial person, I'd learn about finances. So I began to read, and I began to just consume these books. And at first it was hard. I didn't understand the concepts. I didn't understand the words. I didn't understand, you know, real estate terms or things like that. But you just keep reading and you keep growing. And so, you know, really prison time for me shifted into an educational time rather than just a doing time. The day I got out of prison, my wife was there to pick me up. I ended up going to work for $6 an hour, struggling just saving my money, but I continued to educate myself. I continued to invest in myself. You know, they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I just wanted to make sure that I was prepared if that opportunity came along. I went on to start a little small business. I'm fortunate enough to have a great family, wife, and now 4 children. That little business that I started from nothing with the knowledge I'd learned in prison ended up growing to a company of over 150 employees, and a lot of revenue, and ended up selling that. I'm involved in other businesses, on a lot of real estate. Again, all of those things, the principles that I learned while I was in prison, not on the streets. I didn't go to college, none of those things, just from that time in prison. And so my life now is amazing. I mean, amazing. And now I get to focus on things just like this, that encouragement. How do we make prison a place of transformation? And so that's what I get to wake up every day, think about. And one of the things I love doing is just kind of, flicking my finger in the face of society that would say that somebody like me could never make it, and now I have, and I like to encourage other people that they can too. If you want to, if you want it bad enough, you can. Or you can sit there and continue to make excuses for why it is that way. You can point to your childhood, you can point to all the reasons why you shouldn't be able to make it, and guess what? You'll be right. You won't be able to make it. Or you can find those reasons to be able to succeed and really understand that you're the one that directs where your life goes. So my life today, I have to pinch myself every day to just, it still amazes me to this day that I get to live the life that I live.